I don't date broke men. To be fair, I'm also not dating right now. I am very much like living my life, focusing on me. I'm thinking about maybe being open to dating in a couple of months or so, but we'll see how I feel. But in general, I don't date broke men. And I don't see the draw in trying to. I recently had a conversation with somebody who was a man who was in a financially sensitive situation. I love him deeply. He's family. And it brought up I saw a lot of things in that conversation that I found interesting, and I wanted to bring them here because I think that from listening to what he was saying, I could see how a lot of women could fall into the romanticizing of what he was talking about, right? And I want to talk to my ladies. I want to talk to my femmes. I want to talk to the people that date men, because don't date them broke. Just don't date them broke. First of all, men who are not financially secure and confident. I have an entire list of my non-negotiables. I keep them on my phone. I have them broken down into 3 categories. I have my salt and, I'm a food journalist, so I always like talk about things in like references to food. I have my salt and pepper, which are my basics, my absolute basics. Can you read? Right, have a whole video where I didn't realize I needed to add that to my list, but like it needs to be on there. Can you read? And the other basics. Then I have my meat and potatoes. I have my necessities. Like the basics are just, am I open to talking to you? My necessities are things that you find out in the first like 2, maybe 3 dates, right? Am I interested in investing my time into you? Salt and pepper is literally just, am I looking in your direction? And then I have the icing on the cake, which are like all of the fun things. Now, that's where things start to get really personalized. Some of my fun things terrify my friends. But anyway, being financially secure and confident, that is, while I do consider it a necessity, I would love to be able to put it into my salt and pepper. You don't really see that until you start dating somebody. Because yeah, they could have a lot of money, but are they secure in what they have? And are they confident in what they have? Because insecurity with a lot of money looks fascinating. As somebody that's dated people along the entire spectrum of financial insecurity to super financially secure, it is fascinating to watch somebody who has a lot of money and is insecure about it. But for this conversation right here, I'm focusing on this side of the spectrum. The financially insecure, you can't see the other hand, the financially insecure and the brokes, right? A financially insecure man is insufferable. Whether you want the conversation to, whether you want something to be about money, he gonna make it about money. They are the men that are going to ask you directly, and I recently was asked this indirectly to somebody that I am not dating. I was asked this indirectly, basically, what do you bring to the table? If you're on this side, if he's on this side of the spectrum, you're going to hear language like that. If you're on this side of the spectrum, none of the financially secure and confident men that I've dated have ever cared about how much money I make. They've never asked. They've never been interested. They're like, oh, she's paying her bills. She lives by herself. That, like when I was in Spain, I was living with a roommate. But like outside of that, I live so like, they're like, oh, she lives and she has a home. That's great. That's it. Yeah, it is. And when it comes to men that are on this side, there's a romanticizing of their struggle, their financial struggle that you tend to hear a lot. Oh, like I'm just going through a really rough time and I just need somebody to support me. And my previous girlfriends, they just couldn't hold me down in the way that we could have built something beautiful together. And they talk a lot about the other things that they offer that are not tangible, right? I'm going to bring up something here that might ruffle a few feathers, but I think that it's important for the people that date men to know this. Did you know that the modern day version of romance, that the way that we think about romance today, even dating back to struggle love, was created by the French? Now, is that surprising? No, no, no. Especially when you've met French people. Listen, you guys, y'all Frenchies are very romantic. You're very good with your words. You're very smooth. But I see how a lot of people fall under your spell. My neurodivergency is straight through you, though. You tried, and you can't win. I dated many French people when I was in Spain, and everybody, all of my friends said, Shayna, you need to stop it. Avoid the French. I found that hilarious because they kept finding me. And listen, they're a fun time if you know how to deal with the fact that they literally invented romance. Now, what does that even mean? Let's dive in. So this woman right here, Marilyn Yalom, sorry if I'm mispronouncing, she wrote the book, How the French Invented Romance, 900 Years of Passion and Romance, documents the French obsession with love and sex in literature and life, and it actually creates a timeline. In How the French Invented Love, author Marilyn Yalom surveys French literature through the ages, tracing the development of the concept of love and romance. Now, I find this fascinating because before the French invented romance as we understand it today, we knew that marriage and these kinds of long-term partnerships were contracts. They were political dealings. It was financial. Right? It was a reason why there was a dowry. It was a reason why there was a bride price. There was a reason why the man had to, in these like heterosexual relationships anyway, had to prove to her family that he could provide. Now, yes, it was essentially an exchange of goods. But now that women have autonomy and women have their own bank accounts and women can make their own money, it's almost like, oh, well, you don't need money. You just need love. Love can pay the bills now. Thank you, French, for this. Now, the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel outlines a couple more details about what this looks like. Now, you can read more of this, but I'm really just going to focus on right here at the Middle Ages and then right here at the Renaissance. Let's read along, shall we? In the Middle Ages, l'amour, I'm not even going to try, as an ideal centered on the notion of courtly love, that love, physical as well as spiritual, will conquer all obstacles. It's the Middle Ages. Nobody's showering. Everybody's sad and poor. What money? Love will feed our cows. You know, when you don't have anything else and you're starving anyway, it's a nice idea to think that love will conquer all obstacles. In the tales told and retold by troubadours across Europe, it evolved into an articulated code of conduct codified by romances of Lancelot and Guinevere and Tristan and Isolde. The men, the troubadours, were out there perpetuating this idea that, oh, you don't need to be financially secure. You don't need to have a certain amount of gold or land or a productive skill set. You just need love. Listen to this. And what does the creation of romance do? It allows men that were not financially secure access to women that they never had access to in the first place. And we start to see that in the Renaissance. Let us continue on. As the Renaissance flowered, gallantry, the art of pleasing women by any means necessary, was added to the mix. Where courtly love focused on undying love for one woman, gallant love expanded the idea to encompass all women, upping the flirting ante and allowing, especially among the upper class, for all sorts of dalliances. But at its root, love was still seen as a transcendent, oh my gosh, words are so hard, as a uplifting experience. I cannot pronounce that word right now. I'm going to need you to just bear with me. Not just necessarily with your spouse. This right here was the rise of the wordsmith. This was the rise of the sweet talker. This was the rise of the sexually promiscuous poet. That's what this was happening to. You don't have to. This was the rise of the romanticizing of the struggling artist, of he don't have to have it all, but he loves me. And it's a romanticizing of men's inability to financially provide. If he can string words together, if he can create a flowery image of what life could be like together, if I can close my eyes and imagine the beautiful life and the love that we could have together, that's all I need. That will fill my stomach. I don't need food. I don't need a home. I have him and he has me, and maybe he has a couple other people, but it's different. It's different with me. He loves me. I know he does. He doesn't have money to prove it, but I have his heart. Do you? Do you have his heart? Do you have it in your hand? Can you touch it? Can you touch it? No, it's all words and similes and metaphors and hyperbole, so much hyperbole. Like, it's all just literary fixtures to create a sensation that don't really amount to a whole lot of anything. Sometimes love isn't enough. So men nowadays, regardless of what their cultural or ethnic background, still have that idea that is perpetuated by the French. I'm sorry, I'm going to calm down. I'm going to calm down. I have French friends. They love me. But they're still subscribing to this idea that worked hundreds of years ago, because it was created hundreds of years ago. It was a new thing. It was a shiny new stick, right? That everybody was obsessed with, this notion of a new kind of romance. And that was all they needed. That was all they needed. This is not to say that like love is dead. I believe that love is alive. I love romance. I'm a Libra. I love love. I love love. But also if the vibes are off, then I'm out of here. Do not expect me to stay. But there's a lot of men that still subscribe to that idea of, oh yeah, love. I that's all women need. They shouldn't ask for more because I have love in my heart for them. And they're mad that women have opened their eyes to the fact that this is not enough. This is not enough. We need something else. We need something more. Yes, bring the love, but also bring something. How are you going to help me? Because I'm good on my own right now. So if you're going to enter into the space, I'm going to need a little bit more than love. If I'm going to be there's some women that really want to be the primary breadwinner for their household. Listen, more than fine. So sir, I'm going to pretend to be her. Sir, great. Love that you love me. How well can you cook? How well can you clean? How well can you maintain a household? If she comes with children, how are you around my children? Can you raise them? Can you take them to school? Can you help them with their emotional development, their psychological skills? Because love is not enough. Love is not enough. And those are for those specific kinds of women. Now, for people who are not that, I can't eat your love. But I've given you my heart. I can't, you still have your heart. Unless you're going to cut it out and give it to me, then I'll have something of worth. But then you'll be dead, and then what good would that do me? Because men are constantly trying to figure out what it is, are constantly equating their worth to something tangible, something generally financial, whether that is land, the property, money, investments, whatever that is, right? It's getting Capricorn. Capricorn energy, anyway. Got my mind on my money and my money on my mind, right? So, which is great, if they can actually get it done. But with that, the men that are financially secure and confident, they already have that part of their brain occupied. That is a space where something sits and something fits. And what happens when something sits and something fits and they know what it is and they're confident in what that is? It opens up their mind to be able to create a more appealing space for you. They're not constantly thinking about their self-worth or lack of self-worth when they're with you, when they are financially secure and confident. No, it creates space to build a relationship. They can talk about things with you and it's not ringing with insecurity. They have no issue talking about money. In my experience, they have not had any issue talking about money. They have no issue doing whatever it is to make you as happy as possible if they care about you. I've had men tell me, Shayna, I don't want you paying for anything when we're together. Nothing at all. Mind you, he wasn't even my boyfriend at that time. But he was like, I don't want you paying for anything when we're together. Whatever you need, let me know. He told me, I want to do what it takes to make you happy because making you happy makes me happy. I really enjoyed him. I really enjoyed him. It didn't work out long term. Why? Because he lost his job. I was trying to find like a nice middle ground for it, but in his mind, he lost his job. His own internal sense of self-worth plummeted. And he said, oh my gosh, I am no longer worthy. I cannot provide. I cannot. There's such an enrapturing of a man's sense of self-worth to how much money he makes because of patriarchy, right? It doesn't benefit anybody at the end of the day. And he entered this spiral that I could not get him out of, and it became draining for me to try and pull him out of the cyclone that he kept throwing himself into. I brought it up to him and I said, I don't know if this is going to work because I can't be louder than the voice in your head telling you that you're X, Y, and Z. And he said, I recognize this and I'm sorry and I wish that I had this under control, but I don't. And I don't think that I'm the version of me that you deserve. And I agree. I think we should go our separate ways. He's a sweet guy. He's a sweet guy. Wish him nothing but the best, truly. But this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. So ladies, let this video be a source of information for you. Not just to spiritually, emotionally resonate with, I don't date broke men, but historically and practically, it just don't make sense. Just don't make sense. So there's that. Now, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, things like that, please tippity type them away in the comment section. I am also going to recommend that you like, share, and subscribe. And I think that's everything. All right, bye.